going on, Chargers fans? Chargers Now is presented by PrizePicks. I'm your host, Will Ortner. And on today's program, we're going to be diving into the left guard position battle, really the guard position battles, because Bleacher Report, they had an article where they were talking about the position battles that they were most excited to see. And I thought, hey, you know what? They listed the guard position battles at left and right guard as something that they were keeping an eye on over the offseason. So why not, after OTAs are finished, we take a look at it as a channel. We'll go through every single player that's at those guard positions right now, where they currently stand, who do I think could potentially end up taking that spot as we get ready to go into mandatory minicamp for the Los Angeles Chargers, and then we end up going into a pretty dry run until we get into training camp. Will the Chargers offensive line take a step forward this year? Let me know down below in the comment section, yes or no. Very interested in what you think. I'm telling you right now, I certainly believe that they should, just by staying healthy. Like I said, Bleacher Report did ask if the Chargers had done enough to get better at that left guard position, right guard as well, but it certainly feels like we know who's going to be the right guard next year. So Kristopher Knox, he had this to say on the Chargers offensive line. Having Slater and Alt back will be huge, and Tyler Biadasz should solidify things at center. However, LA still has some questions at guard. Fortunately, it also has put some capital into addressing the position. Trevor Penning is back, and the Chargers signed Cole Strange and Kayode Awosika before drafting Jake Slaughter, Logan Taylor, and Alex Harke. If the competition at guard yields two capable starters, Los Angeles should have one of the better overall lines in the NFL this season. Now, based on everything that we've heard coming out of Chargers OTAs, this is essentially where the offensive line depth chart sits right now. Kayode Awosika has certainly taken over for Jake Slaughter, who was someone that we originally projected as being a starter specifically at that left guard position for this team. Now, what will be interesting will be, is this just a for now type of a thing, or is this going to be something that ends up changing as the year goes on? We know that Cole Strange has essentially been given that right guard position. He's actually done fairly well through OTAs, so there's a lot of people that are looking at Strange kind of saying, hey, that's probably his position to lose right now. So as we sit, it seems pretty clear what that first group is going to be. I've given you our rundown here on the channel of where I think it sits, even though there were a lot of people that were hoping that Jake Slaughter would eventually take over that spot. But right now, I'm going to use ESPN's Chris Rim to really back up my take that this is what the starting crew has been, because this is essentially what we've seen. Even when Slaughter has rotated in, he has not necessarily been someone that they are making it a big focus of, right? When there is a position battle and it's clear they're even, it's typically Kayode Awosika would get one series, then the next series it would be Slaughter, then Awosika, then Slaughter, then Awosika, then Slaughter. And that's simply not been what's happening. Slaughter's actually just gotten as much time at center with the twos as he has at guard with the ones. Now, it's going to be a fun position battle, and it's going to be fun to kind of go through every single player here on today's video, which is what we will do later on. But it's important to kind of remember the offensive line will be better than what it was last year, simply by the fact that the Los Angeles Chargers are hopefully going to be healthy at the tackle spots. The O-line was horrible last year, but you didn't have Rashawn Slater. You didn't have Joe Alt, and Tyler Biadasz has been a great addition through free agency. What'll be interesting is at those guard positions. Am I a bit over my skis right now with kind of my breakdown through OTAs of having Slaughter behind Awosika? Am I a bit behind the eight ball saying that Cole Strange is going to be the guy that seems to be the starter there at right guard? I'll let you know here in just a second. All right, we've got more to talk about on today's program. A lot of fun. But first, I need to let you know that today's show is made possible by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is America's #1 sports picks app and is the best place to win cash while watching sports. With playoff basketball here, there's no better time to cash in with our friends at PrizePicks. And I'll tell you this, the app is really easy to use. To qualify for a PrizePicks lineup, pick 2 to 6 players and select more or less on stat projections, including points, rebounds, assists, three-pointers, and several others across all sports. If you're more of a baseball guy or gal, you can choose stats such as hits, home runs, and strikeouts. One thing I love is the new social feeds feature where you can share prize picks with your friends and copy lineups with a single click. You can actually follow me on the app at BigWill7774 to see all of my lineups. I have a lineup for the football action going on later on this year. Justin Herbert, more on his past yards. Quentin Johnston, more on his receiving TDs. Rashid Shaheed, more on his receiving yards. New user offer. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use code HMA when you play your first $5 lineup to receive $50 in lineups. That's code HMA when you play your first $5 lineup to get an extra $50 in lineups with PrizePicks. Clickable link to download the app is in the comments and description. I told you I was going to run through every single guard, or at least the ones who have really been getting some of those ones and twos action. So let's start first with Cole Strange, because I do think that he will be the quickest to kind of run through here. Now, when you look at the PFF grades, they have not been great for Strange, and it's not strange why those numbers are that. He has been someone that really hasn't lived up to the hype of being someone that was drafted high to the New England Patriots because he's already on his third team in his career. What I will say is this. While Cole Strange might not have had the best season last year, you also have to remember that that Dolphins team was imploding. He's going to be on a team with the Chargers where he is growing. And it feels like at this point, he has completely wrapped up that starting right guard position. He's already worked with offensive line coach Butch Barry. He's already worked with offensive coordinator Mike McDaniel. And it's clear they both really like him. Seems like at this point, foregone conclusion, he's the starting right guard. Kayode Awosika is next. And he is someone that kind of came out of, I don't want to say nowhere, but he certainly was not a player that a lot of Chargers fans, at least in my opinion, were expecting to be the leader in the clubhouse to be the starting left guard coming out of OTAs. He has completely dominated OTAs, in fact, becoming the starting left guard. You kind of would have thought if anyone was going to be in that position, it might actually be Trevor Penning. No, it's been Awosika. He has been running with that first crew the entire way. He has been someone that has shown that he can be a quality player, a quality starter. And he is someone that actually, when you look at his grades, he's done fairly well according to PFF. Now, those numbers aren't going to jump off the page to you, but they're certainly higher than Cole Strange's numbers. And he's someone that's been around the block in the National Football League. So personally, when I look at the numbers here from Kayode Awosika, I'm not going to tell you that he would be a bad starter for this team. I think there's a chance that he could get himself into a position where he's playing at about average in the National Football League. And some of you are going to say, Will, I don't want someone playing at average. Well, last year you made the postseason. There wasn't a single offensive lineman on the squad that was playing average, let alone slightly below average. It was all horrific. So getting a guy like Awosika in at left guard playing average offensive line play, that's a dang good upgrade for this team. Jake Slaughter, let's talk about him next because I think I'll say it, he's been a bit disappointing. And I understand that there are some that are going to say, well, Will, he's really a center. He's not a guard. He's going to have to adjust. It'll take him a year or two. He'll learn how to play guard. He'll end up being the starter, and then he'll take over for Tyler Biadasz once he gets too old and be the guard or starting center there. He's someone that has had a fantastic career in the SEC. A lot of talent on the defensive line. So he went up against some of the better players in college football. Clearly showed that he can do more than just hang. He clearly belongs. But to sit here and say that he hasn't really been all that exciting, it's kind of an understatement. Now, it's still super early. I'm not writing this kid off, and hopefully he writes back. He's not Geno Smith. But when you drafted Jake Slaughter as high as you did, I felt like, I would hope, most people would feel like, that the idea was for this kid to come in and take over rather quickly, be a starter rather quickly. That's something that's not happening so far right now. I'm going to be honest. I'm a bit disappointed. Who's going to start? Right now, we have 3 guys that are up. Certainly feels like Cole Strange is going to start. But who will be the guy that joins Cole Strange? Will it be Kayode Awosika? Will it be Jake Slaughter? Let us know your opinion down below in the comments section. You're going to have to type 2 guys down. So there will be 1 guy that is left off. Let us know which guy is going to be left off in the comment section. All right, Logan Taylor is someone that's been working in OTAs. He's been working mainly with the 2s and the 3s, as well as a man by the name of Alex Harke. Now, neither one of these guys was supposed to come in and be a starter right away. These were depth guys. These were guys that hopefully would eventually show that they could be key participants on this team. But it is important to at least talk about them because they are younger guys, and there's a chance they could potentially take over for Strange and potentially Awosika if they choose to move on from this team in a year or a couple years down the road. This offensive line in Los Angeles is better than it was last year. One, just strictly by guys staying healthy, osmosis, it's a better crew. But I think it's important to talk about this and really point this out as well. If you have the injury issues that happened last year, the depth is much improved as well. I'm not going to sit here and say it's the best offensive line unit in the National Football League, but at least through OTAs, I feel confident when I say this. The Chargers are better on the offensive line. Don't go anywhere because that offensive line position battle is going to continue to go all offseason long. And if you want to keep up to date with it, subscribe to our channel here. We got daily videos on the Los Angeles Chargers you do not want to miss out on. Thank you guys so much for viewing today's video. Make sure that you go tell someone that you love them. Can't wait to see you next time. And as always, bold.